welcome to Coffee with Joy. I'm your favorite host, Joy. Happy New Year as we enter into 2024. It's so great to have you all here in Coffee with Joy today. I'm so excited to have my guest Ivy as we will be talking about creating content. But before we get into that, this is a great look for one of she's a fashion editor. Her name is Madeline Jones. So this is her get up, her little, jumper that I have on. It's 2023, but it's perfect for the 2024 season. So let's get into it. Thank you, team. So as you all know, it's a new year. Everyone has this theme, new me, new year. Let's reconstruct, let's find something new. But as you all know, kids are going back to school. Some kids do not somewhat favor that idea. But we have two siblings who mom tried to take pictures of them, and the younger sibling just wasn't having it. Let's look at the clip.
Hey, can y'all hug each other? Can y'all act like y'all love each
So
other?
we can hurry up and go. I'm trying to go to school too. Come on.
Oh, put it down!
You just never know what you're gonna get from your own kids, right? Some kids, they just not into taking your pictures or just want to be photographed with siblings. Well, hey, that's just a little sibling love. Next, as you all know, everybody want this new body, right? But we want to commend this one young lady. Sometimes it's not as hard or as easy just to say, hey, I'm gonna just start this weight loss journey. But here we have this young lady, hey, I'm gonna get fit, I'm gonna get right. So let's take a look as she's trying to get into her weight loss journey.
One, get to it. There you go. Way to move. Way to move. Way to move. Way to move. That's high intensity right there too. Come on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow. So keep in mind, don't give up. I know we're only the 10th day of the year. Keep in mind, because statistics have shown that a lot of people may already have given up on their goals or their dreams or their aspirations or what they have started for their resolution. But I'm telling you, don't give up. Just like herself, you all continue to keep going and make sure that you get this new body. Like myself, hey, trying to work out. But no here, no there. Now, as you all know, we're at this color purple rave. Of course, you can see behind me, favorite color is purple. So color purple has came back, and if you haven't seen it, I advise you to go see it. Well, Fantasia and Danielle Brooks made a cameo on today's show, just singing one of her favorite gospel songs. Let's take a look and listen.
Soon as I stopped worrying how the story ends, I let go and I let God have his way. That's when things start happening. When I stopped looking at back then, I let go and I let God have his way.
Oh, wait, y'all can't.
Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. What a great way to serenade us into our show. So keep in mind, back to school, get this new body, and we want to make sure that we keep our spiritual forefront. So now I'm so excited to have my guest, Ivy, as we're talking about creating content. So everything that you have seen, of course, people want to create content. Here I have my guest, Ivy, in the studio as she shares how she does her content, how she go about transitioning, and how does she keep this consistency going. I am so excited to have her. So after these messages, we're going to speak to my guest, Ivy. Stay tuned.
Our mission focuses on showcasing local and global talent of all ages on and off the field. We will strive to inspire, educate, and bridge the divides through our media collaboration. Our goal is to give student athletes and coaches the platform to let their talents be seen and a platform for the community to let their voices be heard. This is the Union Media Group.
Back to Coffee with Joy. I'm your favorite host, Joy. So I'm so excited to have my guest, Ivy, as we talk about creating content. Here we have Ivy. Hey, Ivy, how are you?
Hi, Joy. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be
Yes,
here.
so excited to have you. So before we get into it, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to jump right into it?
Oh, yes. So, I'm Ivy. My full name is Nadia Ivy Annan. I like to go by Ivy because it's a new name that I recently got, and it just has so much meaning to me, and that it means everlasting, evergreen, and I feel like that in of itself represents the relationship that I want to have with God. And the relationship that I want to have with the impact that I make in this world. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Oh, wow. That is so nice. Yes, yes, yes. Great explanation. Love it, love it, love it. So, can you tell us how did you and why did you want to become a content creator?
Oh gosh, so funny enough, I've been playing with the camera for God knows how long. I'm the one person that everywhere we go, any function, any get together, like my camera was out. And I would capture and capture and capture so much and never post anything.
Mhm.
And it got to that point where whenever that one meme was circulating, where it was like, I mean, we all have that one friend who, if they started posting, would make us all millionaires and we could all retire, but they're not doing it. I mean, like everybody started sending that to me, and I was just like, okay, y'all need to relax. So yeah, because it's like I want somebody to retire me. I don't want to be the one to do all the hard work for it.
Right, right.
But but yeah, I started working with a food festival and just helping to put together the festival and be present and just, capture different things and, travel with them all across the country. And it was really exciting. And I got a chance to capture from many different places, but also amongst many different types of people. And it was so much fun that just got to a point where it's just like, I just had to kind of start sharing it because it didn't make sense. So that was what started the journey of it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it was fun. It was fun. It was so worth it because when your life experiences, when you start finding the little joy, pockets of joy in your life experiences, you get to a point where it's just like, yeah, my life is dope. My people are dope. Why wouldn't I want to share that?
Yes, yes, yes. And you probably heard it where, your life is content, right? Why not
Everything is
just go ahead
content.
and display what you have instead of just putting aside, hey, let me go ahead and batch this. My life is content. So now that you started
Exactly.
with the food journey, how did you merge on out to do fashion and other things within content creating?
Oh gosh.
Mhm.
I attended the ProCon event in DC
Mm.
this September.
Okay.
And funny enough, I've been, putting out content just for the sake of putting out content, like most people do, for a very long time, just to see,
Mhm.
just mainly for the purpose of sharing. But then I attended the ProCon event, and I I think Ron Brown was one of the panelists. She was, talking about, securing the bag and everything you do. And
Yeah.
after she was done with her, her speech, they asked who wants to ask questions. I was the first person to raise my hand. I raised my hand before I had a question to ask, to be completely
Mhm.
honest. I was like, I need to talk to this woman. Like, I didn't know what I was gonna ask, but I raised my hand and I asked her, like, for somebody who was trying to make a pivot, in, you know, careers and lifestyles and whatnot, like, what would be your recommendation on like the
Mm.
steps for someone? So I'm asking a very general question, very generic question that everybody could benefit from in the audience. And she was like,
Right.
okay, what do you do? I'm like,
Mm.
me. And so I answered and I started listing all the things that I do, which is a lot. And then
Hmm.
she's like, no, stop. And then she drilled me and drilled me and drilled me. And then eventually she was like, you're not giving any of the right answers. I was like, oh. And
Wow.
she said, from the moment you walked into the room, everybody can see very clearly that you have a great sense of fashion. What you need to do is take that sense of fashion as the entryway into, conversation on the digital platform and use
Hmm.
that to pivot like as the gateway for people to, because that's what people first see when they see you.
Right.
And funny enough, like I'd gone through a few outfit choices, but like the Procon logo was this like beautiful like blue and orange, and I decided to
Right.
show up in a blue like jumpsuit with an
Hmm.
orange, coat. And so it was
Uh-huh.
like very outstanding, very much like on brand and everything.
Hmm.
And it just very stood out very much. So she said that, she mentioned my fashion sense and how confident she is in like the way I present myself. And she's like, you need to translate that to the digital world. And I've never thought of that before because that's what I do in the physical world, where it's just I network a lot. I go to a lot of networking events. I always make sure
Yeah.
because I'm black, I'm a woman, I'm young,
Yes.
and I'm in a lot of rooms where people are not what I am in a
Right.
lot
Right.
of
Right.
ways. So before I enter the room, I don't want you to create a statement of judgment on me before I open my
Hmm.
mouth. So for
Right.
me, being able to show myself in a presentable way is my way of claiming my narrative when I show up
Hmm.
in physical spaces. But I had never thought to put that translated into a digital world.
Mm.
And when she had talked to me about that, I was like, oh my gosh. So that was like the pivot point for me. And that's when I started
Uh-huh.
being so much more intentional about the content that I was putting out. Yeah.
Wow. That is a story. That is a story. Definitely. I was a Miss Procon. I was so upset. I was in New York and I really wanted to, and it was just down the street. Yes, just down the street.
Ah,
But I
it's
didn't
crazy.
miss
So
the
many
other
things were
one.
happening at the same time too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes.
So just give you all a little background. I met Ivy at Procon. It was an event. It was like a mixer, and it was on a Monday night, rainy. And I said, no, nothing's going to stop me. And matter of fact, I think it was the day before Halloween or somewhere around there. And I said, I'm not going to go. And I approached Ivy, and she had like the little Cavaliers, if I'm saying it correctly, team, the mics, and I was like, oh wow. And I still got that picture to this day. I should have gave it to the teams for them to showcase. And that's how our journey started. So it's always, of course, just being in the room and just be able to, seek people or people seek you to really,
Mm-hmm.
prophesy and really showcase like, oh, wow,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this. And how can you really bring this out so it can magnify truly who
Mm-hmm.
you are? So that's phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you're here, you're doing your fashion, like, how do you stay consistent? Because, if you do this 100%, because majority of creators, they have a full-time job and they still try to squeeze this in. And of course the key is everybody
Yes.
wants to get fully paid as being a creator, and it's not that easy. So
Yes.
how do you stay
Mm-hmm.
consistent if you do this 100% along with the full-time job or with the full-time job?
I think that there are a couple of things that people misunderstand about content creation. That it needs to be this thing you're always grinding out and it needs to be difficult. Like it needs to be like your full focus on it all the time. There's a
Mhm.
couple of layers to it. One, you don't need to consume that much information on social media anywhere. Like you do not need to be scrolling for hours and calling it research. I do that sometimes, and when I catch myself, I'm like, dang, like I just missed out on all this time to actually create content instead of consuming. So
Yeah.
when you catch yourself doing that, stop immediately, immediately, immediately. Go do something more productive or switch gears, right? And actually
Yeah.
take time to like, you have the time clearly. So start creating anything, whatever it is that your value is you're putting out to the world is, and that's fine. The other thing I would say is you have the time, but you also have a lot of excuses. You
Hmm.
have the time, you also have a lot of excuses. You just have to make up your mind which one's more important to you, having the time
Right.
for it or having excuses for it. The third thing I would say is systems, 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 and systems. One thing I did, this took me like 3, 4 days to do, but it was so worth
Mhm.
it when I finished, was
Yeah.
I went through my camera roll
Mhm.
and organized all 19,000, was it 19,000? 19,000 photos and videos
Mm-hmm.
that I have. Currently at like 23,000, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
then it was 19,000. I took the time and I created albums under
Mm-hmm.
whatever categories that I felt was relevant. And I just
Yeah.
started plugging from like however far back I went through and like put everything in relevant albums. Cause I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I I have 19,000 photos and videos from how long ago. Not everything's applicable to the type of content I'm putting out now, but
Right.
not everything has to be. Sometimes it's content that is, like crisp and clean and all of that. Sometimes it's content
Mm-hmm.
that's just, B-roll with text on screen. Sometimes it's
Mm-hmm.
content with, just a combination of pieces of your life or whatever with a voiceover. It can be a
Right.
variety of different things. So once you understand that and you're able to categorize your content by maybe what events you went to, or just fashion in general, or just, get ready with me or in general, or just, pictures of certain things in general, and you're able to create those systems for yourself, that's like the simplest system. That is the simplest system I would recommend anyone to do. If you want to take it a step further, you can always take it outside of that and like create like databases for yourself to organize what types of content you're putting out. And that's, I would say, that's next level. That's like, if you're going to do this super professionally, do that.
Yeah.
Creating a whole database to organize, maybe in Notion, maybe in Google Drive, maybe somewhere, right? But for the average person who wants to start putting out content, don't even stress about all that. Create folders in your phone gallery and just organize what you already have. Start putting out voiceovers, start putting out talking head videos, start putting out text on screen over B-roll, start putting out the photos you took from like last year. Nobody remembers them. And also, don't be afraid to repost the same videos. Like, nobody remembers them. And at the end of the day, what? If you have like 1,000 followers, 10,000 followers, your content doesn't go to half of those people most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't go to everybody all the time. So if you repost the same video with a voiceover versus a same
Yeah.
video with like, text on screen, nobody, like, what's the value you're giving me? That's what I'm concerned about as a viewer, more so than, oh, I already seen this clip, so next. You know what I mean? But yeah, those are
Wow.
just a few ways in which that can help you like keep posting stuff if you're stressed about like capturing content and you don't have a lot of time to capture. And there's a lot of concerns behind that. But if you don't have time to capture, you can make the time, you can make the excuses. And if at the same time too, you already have stuff on your phone, put it to use, you know?
And I just want to let you know, don't feel bad because you don't want to hear the number on my phone. You say 23,000. Yeah. We're going to leave that we're going to leave that off record. So I don't want you to feel bad about 23. Just know that I am so far gone from your 23. Okay. So yes. So I just want to bring that
Noted.
little disclaimer out there. So I don't want you to feel too bad because, yeah. But I think that's phenomenal because,
Noted.
again, just creating the albums, just making sure that it's structured so that you're able to obtain them and without looking for, without trying to really maximize your time and not really sitting there
Mm-hmm.
looking, going around. So now I don't
Exactly.
have time. I don't, how do I squeeze it in? Of course, there are excuses, right? But if you really want to be a content creator, you will know how to drive in
Yeah.
and really work in it. Now, what do you say to people who probably look at your page and say, "Wow, she got it down pat. She has a full team. She has a stylist." Again, people conjugate these things in their head, not knowing the real value. So, if you don't mind sharing your
Yeah.
tidbits of like, how do you get your content out? Like when you're out in public or within your home, like how do you produce your content?
So, so there's three ways for me, right? The There's three ways, and I'll just list them and I'll explain them. The first one is
Uh-huh.
just me capturing content by myself, at home, for example. The second one, like you
Okay.
said, is capturing content out in public. And then the third one is also capturing content with other creators. Um, I think that has honestly been the easiest and best way to do it because you have that support system right there, that motivation system. You're not so much worried what everybody else thinks because you are actively doing it with somebody else who's also in the same mindset as you.
Yes.
And you don't feel anxious or nervous or whatever. And so either a creator who's also another content creator, or a creator who's a photographer, or a creator who's another model or something like that, and just being able to support each other in that way. That's one of the ways that I do it. Sometimes I'll connect with the people, and I foster those relationships a lot. I make sure that those relationships are relationships that I provide value to, so that in the event where I could ask them, hey, do you have time if I'm in your area or if I'm here or whatever, can we get together and do a shoot? It's not so much of
Mhm.
an issue where it's like, and to be completely, I want to respect everybody that I do work with or ask for work from, because
Mhm.
realistically speaking, they have, their time is their time. They could be making money in some capacity, and if they're choosing to spend it with me to even create content with me, even if they don't get anything from it in the moment, um, even if they don't, but like at the same time, I prioritize fostering those relationships and providing value in different ways. And if it is,
Mhm.
mutually beneficial in that moment, that's perfect. And if it's
Right.
not, I make sure, again, respecting their time and their energy. So there's that. But most people won't have, and I don't have that all the time, right? It's just my favorite way to do it because it's easiest, it's great.
Right.
Um, but I don't have that all the time. The second best way that I like to do it is when I am, believe it or not, out in public. I feel like I know a lot of people are going to be very camera shy in public. Nobody cares. Absolutely
Right.
nobody cares. People will make comments in their head. Nobody's going to come up to you and like interrupt you. More likely, they're going to stare. And at the same time, too, like it gets to a certain point. You just put a dollar figure in your mind. How much is this moment worth to me? Like,
Right.
and cha-ching in your head, think cha-ching while they're thinking of you, watching you, you know what I mean, create your content a lot of the time. So a lot of my focus in the past has been, fashion, networking, and events. So it's very
Mhm.
easy to be at events and then whip out my camera because it's natural. Somebody having their camera out at an event feels, it doesn't feel awkward or weird or whatever. So capturing content in those spaces, because everybody's also doing it, little
Yeah.
moments here and there. So if you're nervous about being out in public and capturing content, I would recommend find spaces, events, activities where it wouldn't be unnatural for you to whip out your camera and start recording. Because if you're doing that, you start getting into the nature, into the mindset, into the habit of actually being able to do that anywhere. Um,
Right.
and then if it slowly ease into the part where you do content by yourself, maybe, and when I'm out
Mhm.
in public and I have to do it by myself, not in an event, not in a, with in a community or whatever, I always want to respect the public first and foremost. I don't want to,
Yeah.
take up space where it's disturbing other people. I don't want to shoot
Mhm.
in a space where, other people are in the background of my videos or pictures, whatever, when they didn't ask to be. I always want to respect the public first and foremost. And secondly, more often than not, I will scout. I will scout and I'll scout and I'll scout and I'll find a place where I'm like, okay, this is the least foot traffic with a great, positioning or view or whatever. And I will also look at times of day and I'll plan it and I'll really put my best effort into making sure not only am I not disturbing the public, but hopefully the public, I'm doing at a time and a place where the public isn't disturbing me and I can get in, get my
Right.
best shot and be out.
That part. Yes. Yes.
Um,
Oh, that's awesome, Ivy. So, after these messages, we're going to continue to talk to Ivy. How does she do transition? How does she make her videos worthwhile to watch? So, after these messages, we're going to come back to my guest, Ivy. Latest news, today's news, current news, gossip news, you name it. I am your host with Coffee with Joy as I share any up-to-date news that's taking place around the world. But if you would like to check it out, please make sure you go to my YouTube channel, Coffee with Joy, where I share the latest topic. I am your host with Coffee with Joy with today's topic. Wow. Thank you. So now we're gonna watch a clip of Ivy doing her transition. The music will be low. Of course, Coffee with Joy do not want to get flag of any sort. So if you cannot hear the music, I do implore you to go to her IG page and you'll be able to see all the videos and the glamorous photos that we have taken from her IG page so that you all can see. So we're going to watch this quick clip how she does her transition, and she's going to talk a little bit more about her video. Awesome. I just want to say fabulous. But again, YouTube, Facebook do not flag. We do not own the rights to that music, but we just had to showcase our girl Ivy to show that transitions are very important. Now, how do you go about doing your transition and making it so captivating? And because again, there is view time, right? So how do you set up your transition or how do you go about doing that?
More often than not with transitions, it requires pre-planning. Um, effort, mental effort first. If you can get the pre-planning work out of the way, the execution part, take some trial and error, and then the editing is so much easier. But I will start with the pre-planning. So the pre-planning part is, first of all, you can start with either a song that you think is great, trending, or whatever that you really feel the vibe to and you want to do something creative to. And then secondly, what is the theme of your content? Mine is fashion, so it makes sense to transition outfits. There's a lot of fashion ideas of transition and stuff, but you could transition if your stuff was, I don't know, maybe your art,
Hmm.
or whatever it is that you do. You could always figure out different creative ways to do it, but you can either start with the music or you can start with the concepts. But you do want to have a tempo in mind first and foremost, even if you don't have a song to start with, because I don't think I had a song in mind when we were planning this transition. But we did have the concept, which was that
Okay.
I had a bunch of suit looking outfits. And I
Hmm.
really wanted to do something with all of them because they were all black and white. This is one of the
Hmm.
shots that I did with a fellow creative. So again,
Okay.
made it super easy. But at the same time, too, there are ways to do it by yourself. If you're doing a moving shot, you can always get one of the cameras that like what do you call it? Gosh, my I'm blanking right now, but the thing that holds your phone that moves with you.
A tripod?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
That moves with you. So you can do that. Otherwise, you can always plan transitions that are stationary as well. But once you have the concepts in mind, then figure out how much physical space is it going to take you to do it, and
Hmm.
what movements do you need to do it. Think about that, those little transition points, and because this particular video required transitions at like touch points, and
Yeah.
certain like certain touch points. So figuring out, and if you have to mark those points, mark the points
Hmm.
because you want it to
Right.
be as smooth in as little takes as possible.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
But if that's
Yes.
not the case, you're always welcome to like, especially like shoot multiple times. If you're not
Hmm.
confident with it, shoot multiple times, shoot each clip multiple times, and then at the end of it, in the editing process, it'll be easy to look at it and be like, okay, well, this one lines up best with that one, and I feel great about that. So then we're gonna edit together. But always, 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 if you pre-plan it well, the execution requires a little bit more effort, but then the editing goes so much smoother. And the last thing you want to do is get to editing and realizing you did not plan it right and you did not execute it properly. Like that's going to be so frustrating, and trying to edit it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this one was one that I did with a fellow creative, and it was so
Okay.
much fun for us to do because we were only gonna do I think like two or three outfits, but then we're like, oh wait,
Hmm.
we have this one too. Oh wait, we have that one too. We should do that too. And it was
Right.
so
Right.
fun.
It's
It was
always
so
great
fun.
to be with someone. Yes, it's always great to be with someone
Yes.
that's in the creative world that's willing to take
Yes.
that time. Now,
Same
what
mindset.
is the ups and yeah, what is the ups and downs of creating? Because a lot of people look at a lot of people, plethora of people, and say, "Oh, I can't do that. That's time consuming. Oh, that's too hard." But what has been your ups and downs with creating
Mm.
content as you're in your journey? Is safe to say you're in a comfortable space where now you can be in the public and do what you have to do, or privately or public, and be able to produce your own content. So, what has been your ups and downs through this journey thus far?
Hmm. Um, that's a great question. Ups, I would say there are a lot of ups in that when you have a platform and you're able to utilize it to inspire the people, to educate people,
Hmm.
to entertain them, that is you literally transforming a moment of somebody's life, um, and possibly providing something to them that might be either a bookmark that they could always reference in the future, or something that could
Hmm.
actually be life changing for them. So using keeping that in mind and being very intentional about it. Like, how can I either give you value that is a great bookmark that is worth coming back to later, or would be life changing for somebody? Either in the inspirational aspects, educational, entertainment, whatever it is, right?
Right.
But then the downs of it is sometimes we have excessive expectations of how certain contents might perform, and
Yeah.
it doesn't go as well as we plan. There's this like running joke in the content world that sometimes it's the post that you spend hours editing, filming, whatever, is the one that gets like 13 likes, and then the one that
Yeah.
like you hit record and then share right after is the one that like goes
Yes.
viral. So that does happen, but and that can be a down because it just feels like, oh gosh, like all this effort I put into it, and like it didn't,
Yes.
it wasn't resonated well. But I think all those moments are worth having. All those down moments, they are worth having, and not letting it get to you is a tough thing. But if you see it as an opportunity to be like, okay, well, this is what my audience wants, and this is how it fits with what I want to give them, then
Mm-hmm.
you can kind of try and trial and trial and trial. And the beauty of being consistent with stuff is that if you manage to get to the point of, say, posting every single day, like your content you'll have so many opportunities to learn what's going wrong and what's going right. And if you take 1 week to try one specific type of post, and you post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the same type of post, right? You do 7 different times, 7 different content pieces, set the same type of post, you can get feedback within 1 week on how well it's working. If the next
Right.
week you try a different type of post and that works out even better, then okay, I got to do something here. So
Right.
these are all like, but don't take it so seriously. Take every single post that you hit post on as a learning opportunity and a way for you to figure out how better to. Everything is feedback. As much as everything is
Yeah.
content, everything is also feedback. You know,
Right.
Everything is feedback, and we have to resonate with it that way rather than seeing it as like a disappointment or associating our achievement with the metrics or our value with the metrics. It's very important not to do that, because you never know when it can all be taken away from you or when you can gain a lot of it at once.
Right.
So yeah.
In the key point that you hit, that don't take it so serious. Have fun. And I think people miss the joy in that because some people get so stuck
Mm,
on keeping the aesthetics. And granted, I am here for the aesthetics, but sometimes just have fun. It's okay if you go
yeah.
left. If everything
Yeah.
is black and white and you decide you want to put purple, go ahead. I mean, don't keep yourself in so
Exactly.
much in a box where, because at the end of the day, no one cares. No one really is
Yes.
looking. Granted, you may have a small percentage of your hater looking, but at the end of the day, hey, have fun. You know that you, of course, they say, oh, she put a purple in there, you know,
Yeah.
but you want to, really have fun. And I think people miss that part of creating content. They get so
Hmm.
strenuous, like, oh, I got to do this without knowing that part of the formula is to have fun. You want to produce things
Exactly.
because people are influenced by you. So have fun. I definitely
Exactly.
agree with the part where, don't take it so serious. Enjoy. So
Yeah.
is there anything that you would like to share with with the people as far as like any aspiration or any quotes or scripture that keeps Ivy going? Because we all
Ooh.
battle with our ups and downs, but we know we have a
Mm.
mission to complete. But what is something that you would like to share with someone who's going through this, or saying, you know what, I can't do it, or how do I continue to keep pushing and knowing that I want to be like Ivy? Put this plan in place.
I love that. Okay, so one of the things that spiritually I've been working on lately is loving like God would love, right? Showcasing grace like God would showcase grace, showcasing mercy like God would showcase mercy, showcasing like, being more like Him, right? And
Hmm.
in that attempt to be more like Him, I catch myself in moments where it's like, poof, my heart is feeling this way about something that somebody else did or something that somebody else said. And the thing about the internet, it's just a bunch of people saying a bunch of things and doing a bunch of
Yeah.
things. You're gonna
Right.
feel a lot of different ways about it.
Yeah.
Um, and the crazy thing is, have those people you don't know in real life. So, but it
Hmm.
hits you still sometimes. And as a content creator, you might get certain comments, especially when you start out. People in your family are gonna start saying things like, "Oh, you think you're doing that," or "Oh,
Hmm.
you think you're this," whatever. And And then there's also the people online who are professional trolls. Like
Mhm.
they get like some sort of high from it.
Yeah.
But sometimes we forget that the internet is also a place for our presence to exist.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like people are significantly more likely to lash out on the internet in
Mm.
response to a possibly innocent comment. It was just said in a very blunt way, or
Mhm.
even something that was very rude or very, disrespectful, whatever it is. Um, and even with those, I'm learning to, even whether receiving it or
Yeah.
feeling that, emotion, that tight emotion or whatever, that regardless of that, how I'm feeling, I have a choice in how to respond. I have a choice in how to accept and hold on to what they're saying to me, whether people in real life or people online that I don't know that well. I'm
Right.
choosing to lead with love. So in
Mm.
how I respond to them, knowing that, like, you know what, if I have the opportunity to respond to you in a way that, not that it's going to disregard what you just said to me, but rather like show you that this will not impact me in the way that you intended it to, and I'm going to
Right.
continue doing what I'm doing and serving the people that I serve, and I'm going to do it in such a way that it's going to showcase to you what loving communication is like, then that's what I'm going to do. No matter how much
Mm.
it makes me feel in the moment. So that's something that I would say I would like to leave everyone with. Try and leave with love, even on the internet when you don't know anybody.
Yes, totally agree. Try to lead with love. Well, Ivy, thank you so much for being a guest on With Coffee with Joy. As you all know, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow Coffee with Joy. If you'd like to patronize our show, please make sure you follow the cue cards that is located up on the screen, Cash App or PayPal, or if you like to email, please do so. It's located in our bio, as well as we have our guest, Takira, who's coming up as we talk about goodies and treats. Being an entrepreneur is not always great. But keep in mind that, as you all know, that if it's a weekday or a weekend, it is Coffee with Joy. Please make sure that you live life on purpose, and Happy New Year. Let's get these resolutions going. Have a good night.